At Texas Freedom to Read Project, one of the most common objections that we hear when we oppose anything, an anti-book policy, a bill, restrictions on libraries, one of the things we hear most often is that this isn't a book ban, or the people doing it are not really book banners.
I want to be very clear. This is not a Fahrenheit 451 style book ban.
We're not banning anything. These kids still have access to these works. Isn't that true?
Representative Toth, we could get into a gigantic semantics argument here, but I do believe.
Which I get. No one wants to see themselves as a book banner. We know that historically, book banners are the bad guys. But I want to have that semantic argument that Representative Zwiener didn't get into in that last clip. Because here's the deal. When you forcibly remove a book from a school or library, and then say that school or library cannot replace it, you are banning that book from that school or library. That is a ban. That's how words work. People get this when they talk, for example, about cell phones. The Texas legislature just passed a bill forbidding cell phones from Texas schools, and every headline reporting about that bill called it a cell phone ban. No one went around saying, oh, but you can still access your phones outside of school. We only pretend not to know what the word ban is when we're talking about the context of books. But there's another element to this which I want to get into, a sort of broader context. Because the people who say that this isn't a book ban are always making that argument about an individual policy or proposal in isolation, without acknowledging all of the other proposed laws and policies out there, often put forward by the very same people. Here's what I mean. When lawmakers try to remove books from schools, they say, it's not a ban, you can still get these books in the public library. Then, when they try to remove the books from the public library, which has happened in Llano County, they say, oh, it's not a ban, you can still get these books on Amazon. Do you see where I'm going with this? Then they pass laws that they say will prevent anyone from distributing, that means selling, lending, or teaching, certain books to minors. Here's Texas Representative Jared Patterson, the House sponsor of Senate Bill 412, which just passed, saying that he would call the police on librarians for making available Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye.
Bluest Eye was part of a criminal complaint filed in Hood County against a school librarian. Mm-hmm. Were you aware of that?
I wasn't, but I can't say that I disagree. If I could have I should have probably filed a criminal complaint when I found genderqueer in public libraries, not only.
And then, a second later, here he is saying he would do the same thing for parents giving the books to their kids.
Representative Patterson, does this section of code contain an affirmative defense for parents?
No.
Do you believe parents should be prosecuted for handing pieces of literature to their children that they believe are appropriate for them?
If any person shows harmful materials as defined under this law to a child, they should be prosecuted.
Okay, but that's just books for minors, right? Okay, then here is a Republican official saying that Senate Bill 20, which also passed this session, makes it illegal for anyone of any age to possess the award-winning graphic novel Flamer or the sex ed book Let's Talk About It. Now, a disclaimer, at Texas Freedom to Read Project, we don't agree with the interpretation of either SB 412 or SB 20. But it's scary enough that the people behind those bills think that. And that's to say nothing of the many times the supporters of those bills have advocated stealing and destroying books they don't approve of. Here's that same Republican official saying that she wants to burn books in a bonfire on the 4th of July. I think she's joking.
And we took the books out of the library. And I don't know,
Yeah.
I think they got lost in the flood somewhere. But I get creative.
We're gonna have a bonfire on 4th of July, and you know.
This is where we are in 2025. There are people who are trying to restrict books and the ideas they contain at every level and in every way possible. And every single one of them will tell you that they are not a book banner. I'm Frank Strong, Texas Freedom to Read Project. Follow us on social media for updates, explainers, and calls to action. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.